Hey everybody, Alex Miller at Capnian here. In a second, I'm going to talk about yet another lawsuit targeting OpenAI. This one was filed by two authors that believe their books were used to train OpenAI and that they weren't appropriately compensated for this and that it was wrong. There's a lot of interesting in and out on the merits of this case I'll get to in a second. First, I have a sort of meta commentary going here. I've been talking about all these lawsuits. And the meta takeaway from looking at all these lawsuits, and I've gotten some great comments as well, by the way, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on with intellectual property law around these large language models. And it's, what did actually get used when they were trained? And then B, it's just very unclear how a lot of existing practices and constructs should apply. So there's going to be a lot of interesting lawsuits. There are a bunch going already, and there are going to be more. If you're thinking of adapting tools like this in your business, the easiest thing you could do would be to use something somebody like OpenAI already created, except then one risk you get to think about is one day one of these lawsuits could hit the spot and set an interesting precedent and just really shake up the space in some way. And perhaps ChatGPT being temporarily banned in Italy is a rumbling of this. If you really lean on the tool, you have to consider the possibility you could get disrupted because the people that provide you the tool are under such constant legal fire. And I want to say that the legal fire, I don't think this lawsuit's going to be successful, but there's stuff to talk about, and it's something to worry about. Okay, so what's the lawsuit? What are some interesting facts about it? So two authors have filed suit. They noticed that ChatGPT was able to produce extremely accurate summaries of their works, which they took to mean that their books had been used in training ChatGPT. My understanding is that books are great and you really want to use books because books are where people actually still speak in English and not weird emoji trash. So you really need some kind of well-edited long-form corpus to teach your large language model English. The particular claim made by these authors is kind of weak in that it's very possible that people were just talking on Reddit about the content of the books because they were taking them for a class, so they love the books, and just added a zillion and one reasons. And it's totally legit fair use in the United States to basically spill the whole contents of a book because you're talking about it in some forum, but then that could also be where ChatGPT got it. It's interesting to note part of why these models are so powerful is exactly because they ingest massive amounts of training data. It's not how these things work that Sam Altman and a lawyer went over every single piece of material that went to ChatGPT. That's impossible. So in addition to OpenAI being kind of sketchy about the training data they used, it should be noted that there's a sense in which they were certainly scraping massive amounts of stuff from everywhere. And they might not themselves have a perfect sense of what went into training ChatGPT beyond that, okay, these were the indexes we had of the internet, and this is how we pulled data, these were the websites, etc. In general, all these large language models that are trained on public data in this way absorb tons of content that may be in some other form as intellectual property protection. And it's looking right now like a lot of the time, if you got it from a second order place like Reddit, it's legit that ChatGPT has it. And that's going to be a problem if you leaned on owning that intellectual property upstream. That being said, I'm not a lawyer. These legal topics, especially other people, tell me interesting stuff every time. And I just want to summarize with, well, not this lawsuit, but there's a lot of lawsuits, and some of them are interesting. There's some kind of potential time bomb there that might get diffused, and it might not. It's something to watch.